All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So it is time to give you about 10 days with the Sony Xperia 10. So some of you guys have a lot of questions about this phone, and in this video I'm going to try to answer at least 3 or 4 of those questions for you. So the first thing, I'm going to jump right in here. The first thing that a lot of people have asked is, how is it typing on a phone like this? So let's open up Twitter and we'll pop open something here, and I'll bring up the keyboard. And so typing with just texting out like this is pretty simple. And if you're a one-handed person, you can definitely swipe with one hand. And if you still feel like that's too much, you can double click the home button and then you can shrink the screen to however big you want to shrink it to. You can double click it to bring it back to the normal size to fill up the screen. This 21:9 aspect ratio is the new direction that some phones are going. Sony in particular is going to roll with this, and I really appreciate them doing so, because it was definitely time for something different. But typing and texting on this thing, super easy because it's so narrow. And you compare that to a phone. Let me open up Twitter on here. You can see the difference here. You compare it to what the keyboards are like. You see, so much wider over here, a lot more canvas for two-handed things. However, it's definitely going to be something that is going to be a lot easier for one-hand swiping over here. And two-hand typing on this is obviously going to be a little bit more comfortable. But over here, I've gotten used to it. You can see how much bigger the keyboard is. And I can adjust the keyboard size up a little bit, but I like having this resolution here, the way it's set for the phone. And so typing on here has been a question that a lot of people asked, and I felt like typing on here, I've gotten used to it. This long design is super easy, super comfortable. And again, they even have the one-hand mode where you can double tap down there. I've never used the one-hand mode because the phone is so narrow. You just won't need it. Now, one area that people have asked about is battery life also. I kind of touched on this before in other videos, but you know, having the phone now for about 10 days, it's definitely a battery life that's going to last you for some time. Your screen on time is going to be different. Let me see where mine is at the moment. Battery life always depends on the user, so you got to remember that. So I've got 2 hours and 7 minutes, and I've been off the charge for 5 hours, and it's saying I have almost 2 days left. And so this is totally up to you how your battery is going to be. On this phone, I watch a lot of videos and I do a lot of texting and emails and lots of social media. So of that 5 hours, I'm down to 73%. Yeah, I think that's 70. I got my glasses on. Yeah, 73%. And it's saying it's going to last for another almost 2 days. And that's not in stamina mode. So the battery, even though it's a 2,870 milliamp hour battery inside, you're going to get different results. The optimization for that battery is definitely coming because of this stock Android feel from Sony. And it does have the Snapdragon 630, which is proven to be really efficient on battery. No complaints about that. But there are some downsides to having a Snapdragon 630, and I'll get to that in just a second. But you know, you asked about the battery. This is the type of battery that I'm getting. I'm averaging probably 5.5 to 6.5 hours of screen on time. Pretty much 6 hours of screen on time, almost on every charge, and that's not running it all the way down to like 1 or 2% either. That's running it down to like 15% or so. I haven't used the battery saving thing yet, because if you turn that on this phone, again, that's another thing I'll point out, it reboots the phone. It's so strange how Sony has to do all that. I don't know what that's about. But speaking of a dislike there, having to reboot the phone when I switched to power saving mode, I've never used it yet. And once I tried it and then I saw I had to go through all of that just to turn it on, I immediately flipped it off and was like, I'm never going to use this, at least not on this phone. So that's a dislike. And another dislike, I've already pointed it out, is this SIM tray. They don't have hot swappable SIM trays. So if you pull this out, the phone is going to reboot, which I do not like that. You know, and it's a flimsy SIM tray. I've already pointed that out before. Just don't like it. Now, let's get back to that Snapdragon 630. The Snapdragon 630 could be powerful, but when I put it next to this Snapdragon 632, it just seems I don't know, it just seems sluggish at times, even though I know it's not. But when I put it up against phones that are in the class of the same with it, I'm just not getting that snappiness feel. Just, I could change the animations and I can do all that stuff like some people say, but I don't see the purpose of doing that. I want to see how the phone's going to run without me tweaking it in any kind of way. And that is how you actually should be, using a phone. If you're in a testing phase, you're using it how you naturally would use it regularly. Just take it out of the box and start using it, add your apps, take photos, etc. You do what you got to do to use the phone. So, the Snapdragon 630 is not a bad processor. Obviously, you're probably looking at this saying, Jay, it looks like it's flowing through the things that you're touching there. Well, if you notice earlier when I opened Twitter, it kind of lagged just a little bit. And very seldom do I had a phone in a while kind of lag out a little bit. But this definitely stuttered a little bit. And that's just something that it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen a lot. So that's something else. There's a little bit of sluggishness, if you will. I guess that's what I can call it. Another thing about this phone is the cameras. Now, some people have asked about the 21:9 aspect ratio. Let me just go in here to the settings. I don't know why this is such a big deal to people. The phone records in 21:9, right? 4K 21:9. The videos that I uploaded were recorded in 21:9. However, consider you trying to watch an 8K video and you don't have something that can render it. That is the way I want you to look at if I say I uploaded a video that's 21:9. Make sense? Because so many people, I don't know why in their feelings about it, like it's uploaded in 16:9. Well, you're watching it on a phone that's 16:9 more than likely. So if you're watching it on a phone that can actually show you 21:9, which I don't know of that many phones that can actually show you 21:9, because I don't know of any phones that are 21:9 really. There might be some out there. I'm not really keeping track, but there's some out there more than likely. But I would tell you, consider it that way. Don't think about it as, oh, this is a fake video. I have nothing to gain by doing that to you. But shout out to Zachary Webb. I asked in another video, do you know of any phones that record in 21:9? And he clearly put out his G7 does it in 21:9 at 1080p video. So shout out to Zach. But once YouTube can render 20, like you remember when all these iPhone people were recording in the wrong orientation, YouTube eventually said, you know what, this is a popular orientation. Let's just go ahead and make it compatible with our system. Now, if a person is recording a video and it's recorded in portrait, not landscape, which is the right way to do it, you can now watch portrait videos on YouTube. Make sense? So let's just wait on it, folks. More 21:9 videos will pop up on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll be able to enjoy it if you have a device that can render 21:9. That's the way I'm going to view that. I could be totally off. I could be way off. But that is something that you should probably consider thinking about. Got it? All right. So another thing people have asked about, one thing I don't like about the cameras, I'll go back to that real fast. One thing I don't like about the cameras is it has these modes down here. And, this isn't the snappiest camera software, but it's cool. How fast do I need to get something open? You know what I'm saying? So I'm used to that. But the modes on here, not the best. This camera struggles, like in this artificial lighting right here, this camera probably will struggle a little bit to take some basic photos, in my opinion. Got the triple drivers on deck. It's a good camera. But to me, it's not performing at the level of some other phones I have in this price range. And that's just the way it is. You can't have a phone that's going to be just like this flawless run and do everything right. I think that photo is, kind of grainy and, not the best shot. But let me grab the Moto G7. These are two phones that I'm currently using at the moment. So, right off the bat, I look at the Moto and I see, clean that camera lens off. I see, I dropped my Moto earlier. So if you follow me on social media, I've actually cleaned the lens on all the cameras, but the camera software is obviously snappier on the Moto, and I just think the photos look a little bit better on the Moto for those still shots. But where the Sony really shines, let me clean this off. You guys are gonna say, Jay, you didn't clean the Sony. But where this phone really shines is low light. Oh my gosh, man, the low light photos on here are nice. I mean, I've already put them in the camera review, I believe. The low light photos on here are sick. And you know, that shouldn't be a surprise to you, because remember my other Sony Xperia Ultra, I used that at night, complete darkness, and it just lit it up and it just took fantastic photos. This phone does very well in certain conditions, preferably low light. Artificial lighting, I don't think it does that well. And obviously in sunlight, it's going to do really, really well. So like most phones, but you know, you guys had questions like this and I wanted to answer as many as I could. Now, 10 days with the phone, you're probably thinking, Jay, are you even impressed? It's got a single bottom firing speaker too, by the way. This is the speaker on this side and this is the microphone. Obviously the Type-C is right there. And then you've got your fingerprint reader over here. Obviously the fingerprint reader was something that I was kind of iffy about in the other video, but I'm used to it now. You just have to apply a little pressure and it'll pop right open. This phone does have NFC too, this big NFC logo right there. Someone was asking about NFC. You know, could they do payments? Obviously you can use Google Pay, so that shouldn't be an issue for you. But yeah, the phone is a really nice phone. If I were going to price this phone, for me, I would price it between $249 and $299. $350 is not a bad price. It's just, I think it's a little bit up there because Sony's trying to make their mark because of this 21:9 aspect ratio, and they're doing something new. So consider that. You know, you decide what you think is worth what. However, this complete setup though is beautiful. This phone is prepping me and getting me ready for the Xperia 1. The Xperia 1 is going to be $1,000 minimum. I'm hoping that it's less, and if it's less, it's really going to do well. But I don't think Sony's going to do it. Like, I think they're going to try to get their bread like the next company, and I can't fault them. But this phone, I got this to prepare myself for that Xperia 1 because it's going to have that long, it's going to have the 6.5. It's basically going to be the same body size as the Plus version of this phone. And I've said it before, I just didn't want too big of two phones of the same like that. So I really enjoy this phone, man. And I think if you are in the market and you really love Sony phones, this is going to please you. If you really enjoy Sony phones, this is going to be a very enjoyable experience because it's that new 21:9 aspect ratio, and it is absolutely beautiful. You know, the display, they have this little video built into it came on the phone, I shouldn't say, but it came on the phone of the cartoon Spider-Man. I looked at this thing, it's just amazing. It's that cinematic movie feel, so it automatically fills the screen with the 21:9 ratio. So it's absolutely gorgeous, man. Let me see if I can load that thing up here for you. Here it is down here. Let's turn the sound down. Let's see here. The speaker is good. You see, I didn't have to adjust anything, but this is just the rendering of the movie on the phone. It's over video, it might not look that great. I don't know how it really comes across to you, but this is absolutely beautiful in person, man. It's really nice. They did a great job with this screen. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be one of those ones where you just need to experience it for yourself. You will be pleased with this display. Some people have asked, does it take a long time to get used to? The answer is no, not for me. After the first day I was on it, I was like, this is easy. You know, one hand on a big phone like this, it's gonna be good. So if you have the Plus or the 10, comment down below, how long did it take you to get used to this narrow design? It shouldn't have took you that long, but hey, everybody's different, so I respect it if you do say it took you a day or two. For me, same day, later that evening, I was like, yep, this is a win. Easy to hold, one hand texting on a full keyboard is popping. So it's your man Jay, really been enjoying this phone right here. Oh, something I didn't really touch on is cell phone service. You probably see me with my Wi-Fi on a lot, but I actually use my phones over LTE way more than you think because I have unlimited data and I'm on the move a lot. So I do a lot of streaming and things like that. Music, like if I'm working out or just somewhere, I stream a lot of music while I'm walking around the store shopping or something. I don't know. Point is, the LTE service that I've been getting for T-Mobile with this phone, not a problem at all. I've only tested it on T-Mobile, and it works for Project Fi also. Now, some people have asked, will it switch between? I don't think it's going to switch between. I think it's just going to stay on one carrier, which is probably going to be T-Mobile if you put your Fi SIM card in here. But I haven't noticed, like, with a Fi phone, like these Fi phones, like my Pixel 3 and the Moto G, these are going to switch because they're Fi certified officially, so they're going to switch between the towers. However, you will be able to use Project Fi. I can't verify if it's going to switch between the towers or not, so because a lot of people have asked that too. But I will tell you is the phone works fantastic. No drop calls, no bad internet service, no nothing, and SMS, pictures, everything works. It's good to go. So it's your man Jay. Follow-up video, 10 days, 10 long days with the long phone, 21x9. It's your man Jay. Xperia 10, I think it's a hit. I think it's a hit. I think you really enjoy this phone if you're a Sony fan. Even if you're not a Sony fan, this is one of those intriguing phones that I think you would really like to get. Because remember, it just has that top cutout at the top, the top bezel up there, and then it's all screen around the edges. Remember the Aqua's crystal? Think of that. It's your man Jay. I'm out.